final pre-NFL draft best ball breakfast. Next week at this time, we'll be drafting best ball mania teams. The streams will be longer. Guests will be back, all that good stuff. But today, we got to get to work. We got to get these final entries in the big board. And guess what? Breaking news. I do see in the lobby, there is a little board too. For all the people asking when little board, well, the Lord heard your prayers. I'm Pete. This is Best Ball Breakfast. Let's do it. It really isn't that hard, guys. You just go top two, win it, win it. Okay, I think we can be done here at running back. You only have 3 running backs. This roster is littered with game theory, arbitrage, exploits, and theoretic reasoning. Bro, light mode, my eyes, dude. I don't know. I prefer that move more in a time box contest. Bro, have you ever scrolled so far down that, like, there's no more names, bro? Don't do drugs, kids. Draft and drive instead. You can't have it both ways, dude. Quid pro quo. All right, GMs, what is up, everybody? GM to the GM, Chunk the Deuce, TCD, Zane. Yeah, how fast is the leaderboard about to fill? I saw that it was a 50 max, and I'm like, there will be people who easily max that in the next few days. So, man, I guess Underdog does reward the type of behavior from individuals who are in every single post writing win little board too. It works. Your persistence works. So congratulations there. And you know what else works, guys? What else works is when you hop in a big board draft and you pull the influencer 101. You know, sometimes you just run like the sun, and that's what's happening today. Almost accidentally shared my Gmail inbox instead of my Underdog screen. So that's what kind of morning I'm having here. Let's get this all situated, and then we can take Ja'Marr Chase and start having a grand old time here on Best Ball Breakfast. Let's get a little banner going down here. You know, nothing says I'm trying as a streamer like a little banner scrolling across the bottom. Hope everyone had a nice Easter yesterday. And yeah, if you missed it on Twitter this morning, Underdog confirmed Best Ball Mania 6. That blew my mind, by the way. We're on to number 6, is going to be dropping a week from today on April 28th. And I'm going to select Ja'Marr Chase with my first pick here. And who knows, maybe we can replay what happened, what was it, last Monday with the pushing Joe Burrow, seeing if you could pull off the double stack there. We shall see. We shall see what is in the cards. What is up, Josh? Getting excited for draft week, as am I. It is Marathon Monday. Yeah, I feel I don't know. I've been to the marathon a decent amount of times. But now that it falls on Best Ball Breakfast, you know, it's hard to get over there to support some of those runners. Any bigger boards today? No, my bigger boards are full. All I have left is one biggest board. So yeah, only one more of those left. I maxed the bigger board, and haven't done as many big boards. I believe this is what, like my 20. Can I do math? This is my 28th big board draft right now. But yeah, sorry, no more bigger boards for me. What's up, Steve? Chief? What's up, Angelina? Christian? Frankie Dash fired up about the draft. Last week, Paul was at the getting his car towed. So hopefully you're having a better morning today. The sickos are already asking for little board 3. Time to get a sidekick sub and multi-table 25 at a time. This reminds me, so I'm going to have a video dropping on the Deposit Kingdom channel later today, probably right about when Best Ball Breakfast finishes. I'll go and get that uploaded. But have a draft style video I did over there with Corum. We used the sidekick. And if you guys watched some of those videos last year on the channel, you kind of know the format. Have the guest fill out a questionnaire, and it's focused on the pre-NFL draft contest, and had a really good conversation with him. Asked him which running back he thinks has surprise legendary upside this year. And then we went out of our way to select that individual in a draft. So keep an eye out for that. And you can watch us bully the sidekick a little bit over there as well. Show us your Gmail. What are you hiding? Who even are you, Zane? I don't even recognize you. This is a lot of presumptive energy for someone I haven't even seen around here that much. Get back in line. Know your role, Zane. What's up, Kendrick? Part of the audio listener gang. As always, we will continue to not only support you, but service you every step of the way. Let's see that. Justin Rush with the super chat. Sup, bro? I'm in the draft. 5th pick, Rush the V. Congratulations. Made it into the draft. I did tip people off in the Discord. If you guys are YouTube members here and in the Best Ball Breakfast channel, I let you know when I hop in a draft. And we will be competing with Rush the Visionary today. What is up, Benny? Is Pat still Brees coping? It's so funny too. We had a long conversation about it in the Ship Chasing Discord the other day, and then our guy Jonathan summed it up as a conversation that was basically arguing over whether Brees Hall was more of a 308 pick or a 402 pick, which I think that's what the coping goes down to. It's like, oh, Brees Hall's way overvalued, but I'd still take him at 402, or Brees Hall's still a total smash. I'd take him at 308, which basically summarizes all best ball conversations where we're all arguing each other about essentially a half round of difference where we don't see eye to eye on something. All right, let's see here. T. Higgins doesn't come back, so I can't get tempted with the double stack there. Let's go ahead and do Garrett Wilson. We can play Garrett Wilson and Jamar Chase. And then the question is, do I want to take Josh Jacobs here, kind of the chalk value at the 2-3 turn, or do I want to push it a little bit and grab another receiver? Let's go ahead and grab Josh Jacobs here. Not a lot compelling me in this range. Don't actually like the top of the third. If you're looking by ADP, obviously you can get Tyreek Hill a lot cheaper than this right now. Feeling pretty squeamish about JSN at the 2-3 turn. We've talked about that. Terry McLaurin, DJ Moore, Kyron, fine. I tend to kind of like the back end of round 3 more. You can get a Davante Adams. You can get sometimes a Marvin Harrison there. Then you're getting guys like Brees Hall at a value. But yeah, when T. Higgins doesn't fall to the 2-3 turn, I don't mind Garrett Wilson, but it's just not a run to the podium kind of spot. For a while, Trey McBride was going there, and that was a run to the podium spot for Trey McBride. But now Trey McBride, at least in all of my drafts, seems to go well before the 2-3 turn. Artillery Frost, what if I told you there is literally an "aren't you worried" question in the Corain video that's going to drop today? That's literally one of the questions. So yes, you'll be pleased to know that. I was going to see if I could pull up the exact prompt if I can find it. It was, aren't you worried? Which player have you mostly been fading who you are worried about getting burned by? So there you go, Artillery Frost. Pumped for draft week, pumped for another little board. Yeah, draft week's going to be fun. I'm going to work on a piece for Fantasy Life today, kind of going through a draft cheat sheet, kind of comprehensive guide to draft week. We're obviously going to have our big stream on ship chasing on Thursday, which is going to be very fun. And I can start to tease out some of the guests there. I believe I've mentioned some of them. We're going to have Kitchen at the top of the draft for the Titans pick. We're going to have Cooter Doodle joining us for the Saints pick. We're going to have Ron Stewart joining us for the Jets pick. We are going to have Dwayne McFarland joining us for the Cowboys pick. We're going to have the, stat chasing crew swinging by. We're going to have the ADP chasing crew swinging by. Gretch is going to be there. It's going to be a very fun stream on Thursday night. We'll be live for the entirety of the first round. And then if people get up to shenanigans after, I am going to bed. I think last year they started doing like Sporkle quizzes or something. Let's see here. Did I hear the rumor that if Abdul Carter falls to 4, the Eagles will trade up with A.J. Brown as part of the deal? I did not hear that. I did see on Twitter this morning that A.J. Brown's car got stolen. And he was going to offer someone a get out of jail free card, so to speak, if they just returned the car. And yeah, Nick says it's just clickbait, Frankie. Although I do feel like there's enough smoke there that AJ Brown doesn't seem like completely happy, despite having just won a Super Bowl. Maybe that's still manufactured, but AJ Brown definitely in the hang on, I was just flustered there as I saw T Higgins, the Joe Burrow goes to the T Higgins drafter. That makes sense. Let's see here. I definitely want to take George Kittle. And you know what? I got to scoop up this James Cook fall. I've seen this been happening, and I haven't had the pleasure of being able to do it. Jalen Hurts would be in the conversation here, but let's do James Cook here past ADP with Josh Jacobs, and then we'll grab George Kittle, who anytime I can basically get Bowers, Kittle, or McBride at cost at ADP, I like to do it there. So our start through 5 rounds, Jacobs and James Cook, wide receivers, Jamar Chase and Garrett Wilson, tight end, George Kittle. And now that we got those 5 picks under our belt, I think it is indeed time for a coffee pour. Oh, was that where the rumor was from, Fitzy? So I love Fitzy, Nick. He is a very talented dude, but it's also like a semi-parody account. Was he actually sourcing a rumor? That's funny if he was. Yes, on the ship chasing stream, Shope and Davis are going to be on at the very end for the Chiefs and Bills picks. So that'll be fun. Gretch will be there the whole time. Sanderson is going to be on the stream for most of the time. It's going to be fun. I also mentioned this. I can't remember where I teased it, but at the end of the show, I'm going to have an announcement about the Best Ball Breakfast summer programming. So starting next week with BBM, the streams are going to be longer. We'll be moving to, it'll essentially end up being a 4-hour stream because we're going to do 4 drafts. And we do have a slight programming note about that. That's shifting this year. And I am going to let you guys know about that at the end of the show here. Oh, okay. I guess I didn't even piece together that this is why James Cook is dropping, is because he's threatening a holdout. But Trioth in the chat says this James Cook holdout is kind of reminiscent of post 2022 Josh Jacobs total pattern matching and 25 Bills to 23 Las Vegas. Yeah, I mean, it's just how many times have we seen this song and dance with the holdouts? And basically the only thing that ever happens is the Best Ball Bros can buy the dip. And it very, very rarely actually manifests in missed games or a change in value. The more concerning thing is just if the Bills were to fall in love with a running back in this draft class and add another guy. It's like, I feel like a lot of teams who don't look like they need running back help, right? You have Ty Johnson, you have Ray Davis, you have James Cook. There's going to be a point in this draft where a lot of these teams are like, well, he's the top player on our big board, screw positional needs. This running back, Devin Neal, like we didn't think he was going to be here. I guess we'll just take him. Like there are going to be a few landing spots like that where we're like, seriously, you just added a back, kind of similar to what the Jets did, where it's like you have Breece Hall and you add Isaiah Davis, you add Braylon Allen. Like what's going on here? That to me is kind of like the only concern about some of these players in this range. Like it could happen to Chase Brown. It could happen to James Cook. Certainly could happen to Joe Mixon. Basically anyone after these top, 2 to 3 rounds. It does feel like no one is safe in that regard. Exactly. RJ Harvey would definitely make sense, right? Isn't RJ Harvey on the older side too? Ray Davis on the older side. They seem to have a type over there. GM Steven. Yeah, when the contests, I do want to see when these actually lock. So they lock at 6 p.m. Eastern on Thursday, and the draft will start at 8 p.m. There. So if you are looking to get in your final volume this week, now is the time. Yeah, exactly. Imwald says, seems like a bad year to be a running back who wants to hold out. The leverage is not really there. Yeah, I would not be wanting to threaten that in this landscape. I like James Cook. I think he's a really talented runner, but man, it's like your team could essentially draft your replacement for what? The cost of a third round pick in the draft. But yeah, I mean, James Cook deserves to get paid, but yeah, tough spot there. Speaking of tough spots, what do we want to do here? I'm not going to do Laporta. Have really been prioritizing as many of the rookies as possible. We could do, I want to grab one wide receiver here. Probably just going to grab Jacoby Myers. That'll set us up for another late quarterback out as well, which I always like having in the back pocket. I think with these two running backs here, I'm going to just pass over this Montgomery, Connor, Judkins. If I did do a running back here, I think it'd be Judkins. But I'm going to grab another wide receiver. Let's get a little bit of upside here. I'm going to go with Egbuka is actually which one I'm going to do. Which is funny to say, let's get some upside here and then take Egbuka, who most people consider to be the more boring of this trio of Matthew Golden, Luther Burden, and Egbuka. But I think the more I've thought about these three rookies, the more I've kind of come to the conclusion that Egbuka is the best pick in that range because he matches the draft capital with Golden, right? Like most people think that Egbuka is now going to kind of sneak into the back end of the first round. There's been, comments that he's not going to slide past the Texans, who have a very strong grade on him. He just seems like the type of player now that is going to fall into one of those decent landing spots in the mid to late 20s. And then I like him better as a prospect to Golden. And I think his game is going to be more fantasy friendly than Golden as well. Just his ability to earn targets there. And then you compare it to Burden, where there's such a wide range of outcomes as far as where Burden is going to get drafted. You'll see it mapped all over the place, how he's going to be utilized, obviously the fit and the capital. I think the upside is higher with Burden, but you know more what you're going to get with Egbuka. And I feel like he kind of represents the best of both worlds. As far as those three picks right now. And that's not to say that I would want to have 100% of Egbuka throughout the drafts. I've actually had my flavors of the week where I've gone through a Golden phase, a Burden phase, and I actually want to check my exposures there to see where I'm at on these rookie wide receivers. So what am I at? Burden, 15.8%, so almost double the field there. Golden, 13.2%, slightly over the field there. And then Egbuka, I'm guessing I'm more behind on. Yeah, 10.5%. So I actually feel pretty good where I'm at on those guys, but I would like to have, the more I've thought about it, more Egbuka than Golden. And so, in my final drafts this week, I think that will be a concerted effort to break those rookie ties away from Golden and Burden and get my Egbuka up into that, 13 to 14% range. Yeah, it is. And I mean, even though, Imwald says here, any rookie wide receiver equals upside is what you can tell yourself. And it's both kind of a joke, but also entirely true. And it's true for Egbuka in that he does get some of that, boring slot wide receiver, not super dynamic, not going to give you a ton after the catch, which is conventionally how we think about upside. But in the case of fantasy, how you can think about untapped upside is, holy cow, he gets installed as a target hog slot receiver in a competent offense with an above average quarterback. And while it's not sexy, you can see that paying off in a big way. Like if you say he's Khalil Shakir plus, in an offense, and I do think the Texans, I mean, that would be a near perfect landing spot. Obviously, you're never going to be an alpha there with Nico in that offense, but playing opposite Nico with a good quarterback there over the middle, I think he could have a very high floor and high ceiling for fantasy purposes right out of the gate. Exactly. Boring wide receivers can score 2 TD games as well. So yeah, I drafted the old guard boring wide receiver in Jacoby Myers at the 6-7 turn, and then came back with the new guard boring wide receiver Egbuka. So the team through those 7 rounds, we got our 2 running backs, Josh Jacobs, James Cook. We have Jamar Chase, Garrett Wilson, Jacoby Myers, and Emeka Egbuka at wide receiver, and then George Kittle there at tight end. Let me go see where Travis Hunter went in this one. Travis Hunter went at 66. I'm not even shaking my head saying that that's bad. I'm just shaking my head. I can never get this guy in a draft anymore. I can never get him in a draft. There is no more fake ADP than Travis Hunter in my draft specifically. Whatever his ADP is, add 15 to it. That's the real ADP. Yeah, the different Hartman says the Ladd McConkey archetype. The difference is that Ladd's athleticism was really striking. Like he really shocked everyone with how he tested at the combine. The fact that you were going to get the explosiveness. The concern with Ladd was the kind of spotty production profile in college, and it was like he had a really high targets per route run, but didn't actually amass a lot of production, which just felt weird. Egbuka does not have the explosiveness and athleticism that Ladd has. So to me, that is a little bit of a difference. You're going to need more volume, I think, from Egbuka to hit, where Ladd is able to hit. And we saw this, like, for as good as Ladd was, he wasn't racking up 10 plus, catches a game for a lot of that stretch. It was on more limited volume, 6 to 7 catches, but getting used in the red zone, getting used on big plays. All right, we will take Brock Purdy here to stack up with George Kittle. And then I kind of just want to think through what I want to do here. Should we try to set up a potential Houston onslaught, do a little galaxy brain there with Christian Kirk and Egbuka? We can either set up, the double stack if it were to play out that way, or if not, we can play Egbuka to another situation because there is no guarantee he is going there. So yeah, let's lock up Brock Purdy. Christian Kirk obviously sets up a concrete stack with Stroud as opposed to a galaxy brain hypothetical one. And we still have Fields potentially for Garrett Wilson, although Fields is unlikely to come back around to me when I pick next. So yeah, I like getting another quarterback stacking option there. Also not opposed to doing Jordan Love with Josh Jacobs as well. So have some options there as we grab Brock Purdy and Christian Kirk. Let's see. At current ADP, is there anyone that you're auto clicking? I feel like a lot of people. I feel like most players I will click at ADP. I mean, we can go look at, my exposures. My exposures are less interesting in that, like, the volume here isn't super high. 30, 38. This is my 39th overall draft. Some cheap late running backs are my most frequented clicks here. Will Shipley, 37%. Brashard Smith, have a decent amount of the kind of cheap, boring tight ends. Hunter Henry, Dallas Goedert, of course, a ton of Brock Bowers, a ton of Amari Hampton. This stack here, apparently my favorite go-to stack, as you see Brock Purdy at 21%, George Kittle at 21%. Torrey Horton has been kind of like my arbitrage Kyle Williams. When Kyle Williams keeps getting too expensive, I just kind of sit back and draft Horton instead. And then still keeping my Travis Hunter exposure up at 21%. But it's very hard to keep it up when people elbow me out of the way to select Travis Hunter in my draft rooms. What's up, Chris? Welcome to becoming a YouTube member. As a reminder, if you guys are YouTube members and part of the Best Ball Value Hounds tier, that'll get you access to all of the premium After Dark shows. I do those once a week on either Friday or Saturday nights. This past week, we had Sean Siegel from RotoViz. You guys obviously know him from drafting the Best Ball Banana Stand with me throughout the summer. Really fun conversation with Sean. It was, I think at the end, maybe the last 20, 30%, we talked some ball. Talked about this rookie class, but for the most part, we were talking about a bunch of other stuff, you know, how he got started at RotoViz, how he thinks about writing in business and, you know, balancing all of those interests with other things. It was a really kind of wide ranging conversation. He's just a very smart and thoughtful individual, and never want to pigeonhole someone like that into a conversation just about fantasy. Got some good feedback as well from people who were able to check that out already. So yeah, take advantage of those After Dark shows. And if you like Sean, you will love that episode. Any hot draft takes before Thursday? Yeah, let me fire a few off that I've been thinking about. One, I think the overconfidence in Ashton Genty going to the Raiders is kind of crazy. I still see that in like every single mock draft. There have been some reports. I think it was Tony Pauline, a draft insider, had some sources close to the GM of the Raiders, SpyTech. Seems like they might be in play for offensive line. I just think the Genty to Raiders thing has gotten too comfortable. So my hot take, Genty not going to the Raiders. I think it would be the Bears. There's some rumors that the Broncos could potentially be wanting to trade up into the top half of the first round. I could see them being in play there. So yeah, those are a few things that I am considering. All right, we're on the clock here. We're going to take CJ Stroud. And then the question is, do I want to take Rashid Shaheed, or do I want to just lock up my other quarterback? You know, do I want to just take Jordan Love and essentially be done at quarterback? Or do I want to kick the can down the road? Obviously have Geno as a possibility. Fields is already gone. I think we take Shaheed here. Shaheed's a nice little value. Wide receiver really starts to fall off after this. There's obviously some guys in here that I don't mind, but man, it is speculative after this. So let's get Shaheed as our wide receiver 6. And we can also play some interesting angles. We can do the dart thing. We can do the Sanders thing with the assumption that the Saints starting quarterback is not on their roster right now. Yeah, so I like how this team has shook out as far as trying to capture the value pockets in this draft. Brock Purdy stacked up with Kittle, Stroud stacked up with Christian Kirk, and who knows, potentially Egbuka as well. Still just our 2 running backs, but comfortable with that, avoiding this kind of dead range of the draft at running back. So just Josh Jacobs, James Cook, and we will be prepared to rip off some rookie running backs here in the double-digit rounds. And then our wide receiver room is solid. Chase, Garrett Wilson, Jacoby Myers, Egbuka, Christian Kirk, and Shaheed. And Kittle can hold it down at tight end. So yeah, feeling decent about this draft so far. It all hinges on New England. Do they take a falling Carter or stubbornly take Campbell? It does seem like the Patriots are pretty locked in to Campbell. I believe I saw Hayden Winks tweet out that the current betting market is Campbell minus 400, which is a pretty significant lean toward them going Campbell. But yeah, like you said, I that's under the assumption that Carter's off the board. You would think that if you did get a fall like that, that there would be some teams interested in trading up for Carter. And maybe then the Patriots would be a trade down candidate, but I don't know. What's up, Reese? How was my Easter? It was great. Yeah, we did a lot of kind of fun Easter activities with April over the weekend. You know, my parents live remote, but they sent her an Easter basket. So we did a call with them on Sunday. And then April did a little Easter egg hunt in our backyard. Then we went over to my in-laws. She did another Easter egg hunt over there with her cousin. Had a nice Easter dinner with some cheesy potatoes, rack of lamb, Had some couple of nice glasses of wine and some carrot cake for dessert. Very nice time. And yeah, it was a good Easter. Hope you guys all had a nice one as well. I don't think this is happening. Chiraz says Sanders is going 2 or 3, so Carter should be there. The betting markets strongly disagree with that. I still lean towards Sanders going in the top 10, but even the markets don't agree with that. Like, most conventional wisdom is Sanders is going to fall out of the top 10, and really the one team that seems to line up for him is the Browns in a trade up scenario where the Browns trade up somewhere in between picks 10 to 25 to secure Sanders, to pair him with Travis Hunter. But man, unless a team is playing things really close to the vest right now, you cannot find a lot of clean spots for Shedeur Sanders to go. Unless you just think the Giants are just full of shit. But I would be stunned if Shedeur Sanders went top 3. Absolutely stunned. And I'll be pretty surprised at this point if he goes top 10. I have a bet on him going top 10. I would cash that out if I could. I mean, cash it out at even money. I'm not going to cash it out at lower odds, but I don't feel good about Sanders going top 10 right now. Exactly. Sanders is like minus 500 to go after 8 at this point. I do think there is, like, obviously benefits to subterfuge and playing things close to the vest. Like, why let people know you're interested in Sanders at cost right now so the Browns can come and jump you, with a trade up? So I do think there is still that potential. But the more you kind of piece together where the kind of draft rumors are, who these teams prefer, you just don't hear a lot about Sanders outside of the Browns. All right, we are back on the clock. This is an interesting range here. I do not want to do Ray Davis with James Cook. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to pull up a rookie here. I mean, the rookies are flying off the shelves here. I'm not going to have a chance to get many of these guys coming back. So I'm just going to pull up Devin Neal to the 12-13 turn. Like, a lot of the guys I'm otherwise taking just flew off the board. Giddens, Sampson, Harvey all went before I could pick. I have not taken much Dalton Kincaid. And I really don't like this area of the board. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna take Dalton Kincaid. He falls 10 picks past ADP. I'm gonna use this as an opportunity to get a share of Dalton Kincaid. I do have James Cook on this team, so we're making a little bit of a bigger bet on the Bills here with those two. And frankly, I don't like this portion of the board. There was nothing else standing out to me. I don't need to do receiver here. I don't need a Thielen or a Keenan Allen. Or a Quentin Johnston. I don't need any of these kind of quarterbacks here. The Tua, Stafford, Cam Ward, Young doesn't really make sense on this team. And then the running backs, I just wanted to make sure I got some rookie upside in this room, which is filled with people vacuuming up my targets. I mean, look at these picks relative to ADP. Shit, yeah, it takes Giddens. What was that? 20, 30 picks ahead of ADP? ADP of 154, he goes at 133. Then I think, oh, maybe I'm going to get Sampson. Sampson, ADP of 140, he goes at 134. Harvey goes at 137, ADP of 159. That's where they should be going too. I have no problem with it. I'm just tilted. I'm just frustrated that I couldn't just sit back from my little 101 perch and pluck off a couple of rookies, making it hard on me. This is a fun one. Who is the surprise Penix pick of this year's draft? If it is quarterback, it would be something like a team taking like Sanders in the top 10. But I'll say this. I think the surprise pick could be something involving Genty. I think it could be a team that we don't think needs a running back taking a running back. Like the Jets taking him at 7. And we're all just like, what the fuck? And obviously that would signal a Breece Hall trade, most likely. But I could see something like that. I could see a team that we don't think needs a running back trading up to select Ashton Genty, and all of us being like, are you kidding me? I mean, the Niners taking Genty would be just like a shocking thing as well for multiple reasons. So yeah, my prediction is something involving Genty, and it kind of coincides with my other prediction that the confidence in the Raiders selecting him is funky. Milroe would be the more like conventional 1-for-1 example, as far as like, okay, yeah, fringe first round guy, and all of a sudden he goes top 10 to a team. Tyler Shuck going first round, that would be crazy. But even Shuck, like Milroe feels like a better comparable to how people viewed Penix last year at this time, which was like, yeah, not a round 1 guy, but probably like a fringe round 1, round 2, back into round 1. Whereas Shuck, it's like, I don't know, man. Yeah, that would, I think Shuck going top 10 would melt my face even harder than Michael Penix going top 10. Yeah, something like Milroe to the Saints at 9. Dart to the Saints at 9, yeah. All right. Let's see what we got cooking here at the 14-15 turn. Last round, we grabbed Devin Neal and Dalton Kincaid. We see a little bit of a quarterback run here. Anthony Richardson comes off the board. Bryce Young comes off the board. Tua comes off the board. Kyle Williams there went at 164. I am going to lock up Geno here as my last quarterback. We'll get Geno with Jacoby Myers, and then I'll feel pretty nice about this quarterback room. Brock Purdy, CJ Stroud, and Geno. And then this needs to be a running back pick here. And the question is just what flavor am I most interested in on this team? There's Rico, there's Corum, there's Rashad White. I think I can take a bigger swing with this team. I don't mind Jaylen Wright. Man, this is not a fun range. It's probably Jaylen Wright or Blake Corum for just kind of max upside there as far as contingent stuff. Jaylen Wright could easily get drafted over as well. I mean, they're a team that if they take a DJ Giddens type and all of a sudden you're like, well, that's a burned pick. But on the flip side, that pick could age pretty gracefully as well. If they don't add someone of significance, then all of a sudden Jaylen Wright as a pretty clean handcuff at pick 169 in an exciting offense still isn't too bad. But yeah, I'm just mainly, I didn't even have the choice to click Damian Martinez. Damian Martinez goes one pick before me there. Yeah, the rookies flew off the shelves here. I guess I could have pulled up an Ollie Gordon or Brashard Smith. I have a ton of Brashard Smith, so didn't necessarily feel like I needed to reach heavily on him there. But this team has come together. It's a 3-4-6-2, feeling good at every position. Brock Purdy, Stroud, Geno Smith at quarterback. Up to 4 running backs, but we do have Josh Jacobs, James Cook early, then Devin Neal, Jaylen Wright late. Wide receiver room, perfectly cromulent. Jamar Chase, Garrett Wilson, Jacoby Myers, Emeka Egbuka, Christian Kirk, and Rashid Shaheed, and then George Kittle, Dalton Kincaid at tight end. So as long as we don't get fully shut out, rounding out this running back room, I think this will be a decently strong team. Burgundy. Pete, you're going to jump in little boards because it's a new contest and ADP 170 doesn't exist. I will probably not be in any little boards unless the big board fills and my biggest board draft is done and I'm really fiending for another draft, but I will probably not have time to get in the little board streets. This contest 95.5%. So any extra time I have with some bullets, I'm going to be getting it into the big board here. But it is a fun, to your point, it is nice to have those time boxed contests where you can hop in the little board and you don't have to worry about that stuff. I think it was early in Best Ball Breakfast season. I kind of went on, dare I say, a rant about how I think some of those big movements are overblown, as far as people being like, I can't draft anymore. People got Travis Hunter at pick 170. I can't draft anymore. To me, the movements that actually scare me is a player going from like the 100s to the 20s. Like that CLV is really meaningful. We always talk about, the auction dollar equivalent, Travis Hunter going from a $1 player to a $13, $14 player. Like, yes, that's meaningful. But it's not, I can't draft anymore because there are super teams built, especially when there still is the uncertainty around the Travis Hunter stuff. It's not like a binary thing where a running back has gone from a backup to a starting running back who now projects as a round 2 value, and it's just clear cut, the projectable volume, it's all going to be there. There's still a lot of hypotheticals with how this is going to play out with Travis Hunter. The CLV is nice. It's great if you have it, but it's not preventing me from wanting to compete against those teams. All right, we got 2 more picks here. What's the latest with JK Dobbins? What's going on with JK Dobbins right now? I know he's not on a team. I mean, is JK Dobbins someone that I need to consider here at pick 17? I kind of don't mind it. Mile High Sports saying Denver should sign JK Dobbins if they don't draft a running back. I guess I'll kick the tires here. I need a running back. I mean, we are to true flyer running back territory with the rookies. All these guys should probably be here at my next pick. Let's go ahead and take JK Dobbins. And then a third tight end here. This is tough. I have so much Harold Fannin, but I also have this CJ Stroud stack. So I prefer to just take Dalton Schultz here. I love Fannin. I think he's a great pick, but I'm always going to kind of break ties in favor of the correlation there, especially with a guy like CJ Stroud, where if I'm right on this pick being a smash, we're going to see the tight end come along for the ride a good amount of weeks. That's really what we're doing with the quarterback stuff or the tight end stuff, is just trying to get it attached to a competent offense where we can go touchdown hunting. So buying the dip on the Houston offense, Kirk, Schultz, Stroud, maybe Egbuka, and letting it rip there. So we're at a 3-5-6-3. We'll probably do a wide receiver flyer or 2 late, and definitely a running back. I think getting up to 6 running backs and kind of a luxury pick there. Probably getting to, I guess it could be a 7 running back, 7 wide receiver team, or it could be a 6 running back, 8 wide receiver team. We'll just see how it shakes out. But getting 5 wide receivers in the top 97 picks, 6 through 120, I'm not really feeling behind at any position. Running back's probably where I feel the weakest, but even then, I mean, Jacobs, Cook, Neal, Wright, JK Dobbins, that's fine. Yes, I am aware. I am aware that Harold Fannin Jr. is duck-footed. Man, the Keenan Allen, I think I mentioned that. I don't know what. Oh, I think I mentioned this on the video with Corum that'll come out later today on the Deposit Kingdom channel. But it's like that feels more bleak than even like the Dobbins situation as far as what that means for his value. At this point, I think you just want him back in Chicago. I guess the one thing going in his favor is that this isn't a strong class for the wide receiver position. Maybe there are some teams that get boxed out on one of their targets that they want in this class, and they're like, all right, we'll just give Keenan a ring, and not a NFL Super Bowl ring, but a ring on the telephone. But yeah, I don't know. It doesn't seem good to me right now. But that's probably what Keenan Allen's camp is waiting for. Like, let's just see which depth charts look pretty favorable post NFL draft. But I don't know. I think you're rooting for him back on Chicago at this point. Yeah, I don't think he's done playing football. I just think it's not a good sign that a team hasn't locked him up. I'm trying to think what would be, before they signed Diggs, I kind of wanted Keenan to New England. No target competition, decent quarterback. I mean, I'm trying to think. People have tossed around him going back to the Chargers. Wouldn't be the worst fit. I mean, I think him and Ladd could complement each other nicely. A team like the Panthers who needs receiving help, but kind of duplicative skill sets with Adam Thielen and kind of what he does for the team. Like, how many dusty, competent, older wide receivers do you want on one roster? So yeah, I don't know. I don't know where it's going to shake out. The Crutches says, I always go Arroyo or Mason over Fannin since I think they're second rounder types and Fannin could fall to day 3. Most of the chatter I've heard is that Fannin has a higher draft capital projection than Arroyo, and that there's a lot of people who think Fannin could be a round 2 guy. I initially had concerns about the draft capital, but I don't have concerns about the draft capital for Fannin anymore. I'd seen multiple stuff that most teams have, like a round 2 or round 3 grade on him. So I think Fannin is a smash, truthfully, where he's going right now relative to that projected draft capital. All right, let's see here. We need a wide receiver for sure. Is there anything we could do? Iosivas as part of the Jamar Chase pairing here. And then I'll get killed by Steph and someone citing his like targets per route run last year. But I can live with that. And then let's see. I think we take a running back flyer here. And I've been taking a decent amount of Trevor Etienne. Let's do a Jayden Blue. I don't feel strongly about any of these guys. They're all most likely a 0. We'll do a Jayden Blue here as my 6th running back. So we're at a 3-6-7-3. Took Blue and Iosivas there, and then we can see what we like best at running back or wide receiver for that last pick. Trey Tucker could be a good last round pick with Geno. I forget who I was drafting with when I think it was with John. We drafted on off and on the clock on Tuesday last week. And I'm pretty sure he took Trey Tucker with his last pick. You know what's funny, Steph? Your employer loves Iosivas. He was the top ranked player according to Legendary Upside. So how about this, Steph? How about you start supporting your team and your colleagues over at Legendary Upside and stop slandering Iosivas? I honestly have no problem with the Iosivas. What I'm generally doing with these is either there's a rookie that I like, for a while you could get the Torrey Hortons of the world in this range, or I'm looking for a teammate. I'm looking for some kind of correlation on my roster. That's why I mentioned the Trey Tucker with the Jacoby. No one really on the Jets that I would entertain. Iosivas with Chase certainly fits the bill. There's no more Niners left that are interesting. Nothing really with Buffalo late that's interesting. So yeah, I didn't have too many teammate options. I guess I could kick the tires on like a Restrepo, Felton, one of these rookies, a Ricky White, maybe. But yeah, I think the contingent upside for Yoshi in that offense on a team like this, you're basically saying if T. Higgins gets hurt, if Mike Gesicki gets hurt, Iosivas is going to be able to pay off a 211 cost there. I'm kind of surprised how much Jackson Dart is hanging around in these drafts. To see Shedeur Sanders go 203, to see Russell Wilson go 212, to only have 2 quarterbacks selected after round 15, and we're in the middle of the 20th, and Jackson Dart's still available. That it's just kind of wild to me. The draft capital is now projected to be about equal for Sanders and Dart. Almost everyone agrees Dart has a more fantasy-friendly game. First round draft capital probably going to go to a decent-ish team. If you're in that Steelers Seahawks range back there, I guess if your argument is Shedeur is going to start 17 games for the Browns and Dart is maybe just going to be a speculative back half of the year guy on like the Seahawks, maybe. But I guess I'm just surprised that that Dart is still kicking around and has not been drafted here. Like, we got our guy Rush the Visionary in the chat. Tell me why Russell Wilson over Dart on this team. Not to pick on you, but Caleb Williams, Dak. To me, like, Dart makes so much sense. I might just take. Okay, Moogie took Jackson Dart there. I was like, I might just take Dart if he comes all the way back as my 4th quarterback. Let's do a pick. Let's own everyone, own the libs, own everyone with a Restrepo pick. This will be my boring rookie wide receiver team. Egbuka and Restrepo. There you go. Restrepo. All right, let's recap this final team. Man, I've really gotten lazy with naming my teams. That's going to kill my OCD at some point too. I'm going to look back and be like, why didn't you name these? Because they're either stream drafts or I drafted them cardio club style, either on the assault bike, did a few of these out on longer walks. But now I'll never know because I forgot to name them. All right, here's the team. I do like how this team shook out, though. Didn't get boxed out really at any position. Feel like I have pretty good floor and ceiling at all the positions. Quarterback, Brock Purdy, CJ Stroud, Geno Smith. Running backs, Josh Jacobs, James Cook, Devin Neal, Jaylen Wright, JK Dobbins, Jayden Blue. Wide receivers, Jamar Chase, Garrett Wilson, Jacoby Myers, Emeka Egbuka, Christian Kirk, Rashid Shaheed, Iosivas, and Restrepo. And then 3 tight ends, George Kittle, Dalton Kincaid, and Dalton Schultz. The only thing that kind of felt gross was that run on rookie running backs. Normally, the quality of running back that I'm able to get when I took Devin Neal and Jaylen Wright is a little stronger, but we had, the DJ Giddens of the world flying off the shelves. So yeah, we pulled up Devin Neal, which wasn't too bad. And I think getting 2 running backs in the top 50 kind of allowed me to go a little bit thinner at running back. So yeah, I'm glad that I locked those up. Very strong quarterback room. These guys have upside, going to play all 17 games. Tight ends, really strong. It's basically kind of the wide receiver room. It's strong at the top. It really comes down to how some of these guys in the mid-range get a Egbuka hit, get a Christian Kirk hit, a Shaheed, one of those guys hitting will go a long way. But probably one of my more balanced teams that I've drafted here. Let's see. Joseph becoming a YouTube member. Welcome, man. Welcome. I will anxiously await Steph's grade here. She's going to try to tank it because of Iosivas. She has some vendetta against Iosivas, but I think this is a decent team. We'll see if Steph's grade would come in here. Let's see. Achievers, you were in here as well. What did you do? You took all my rookies. Daniels, Goff. Yeah, see, you don't get in a draft with the Achievers. He takes all the rookies. Takes Henderson, Tootin, Giddens. You can't leave any of these guys for us. Look at that Eckler chaperone, though. Little Eckler chaperone to be the adult in the room. Taking Tet, taking Luther. Oh, and then the 4 tight end build. Man, Achiever's having himself a morning. Tucker Kraft, Kyle Pitts, Mike Gesicki, and then Noah Gray. What's up with that Noah Gray pick? What does Noah Gray do for this team? You gave me a B. Steph, it's better than a B. I'm honestly, like, I'm starting. You were able to get away with some of this stuff at the beginning when I didn't know any better. This team is better than a B. You need to get your Iosivas blinders on. This is a B plus, A minus. I now can objectively grade my own teams in a way I couldn't at the end. You're being too hard on this one. This was one of the better drafts I've done on stream the entire pre-draft. And I crush myself when I make mistakes. I own up to my mistakes. You're being too hard on this one, Steph. This was a good team. This was a good team. All right. Let's draft another one. Not NBA. Let's see here. Big board. See, they've slid big board to the back there. You got to go hunting for it now. We got 7 more if you want to hop in. All right, I need to pour some more coffee here too. At the end of this draft, I will share the announcement for the programming plans for this Monday block of Best Ball Breakfast. It will continue to start every Monday at 10 a.m. Eastern. It will always start with a solo draft, but I have a few additional notes about the programming. I will mention that at the end of the show. That's how you do a tease. That's how you do a tease. And I'll say this. If you are After Dark members, you already got a little preview of the tease on Saturday night, and I will let you guys know the full plan going forward here at the end of the show. And like I said, this week it is crazy. A week from today, we will be drafting a Best Ball Mania team. A week from today, we will be drafting a Best Ball Mania team, or we will have just wrapped up drafting our first BBM team of the year. Achievers is getting slammed in the chat for the Noah Gray pick. That's your version of Iosivas, where no one looks at anything else other than the last pick. The running back room could suck on mine. First of all, any running back room could suck. The way to evaluate whether a running back room is good or not, to me, is based on how you balance the draft capital spent. In getting 2 running backs in the top 50 and drafting like you're right, if you're taking 2 running backs in the top 50, by necessity, I don't think your running back room can suck. Obviously, any player can bust. Those players can be bad, but that's generally been more capital that I've sunk into the position than normal. Mark, thank you, my good man. 5 gifted memberships getting handed out in the chat like candy. Rush, I mentioned your team. I wanted you to take Jackson Dart instead of Russell Wilson. I like the team otherwise. I obviously like the Dak and CD stack. All look good to me. All right, do we want to do Puka or do we want to do Nabers? Puka or Nabers? Let's do Nabers. Let's do Nabers. Let's have some fun. Do some Malik Nabers here. I think I have more Puka than Nabers too. Always nice to check this and see if that's true. Nabers, Nabers I have 16%. Scratch that. Puka I only have 8%. Okay. Maybe I am going Nabers every time in that spot. I honestly thought, for some reason in my head, I thought it was flipped. Hybrid dads in the 104. All right. Have you been seeing any craziness about the Steelers possibly trading Pickens to the Chiefs? I've missed that. I have not seen those rumors. I feel like there's like 2 levels to rumors. Actually, let me make this pick here. Do we want to do Achane? You know what? I have not. Everyone keeps taking Trey McBride from me. I can't get McBride anymore, so I'm just going to take McBride right now. I don't think I'm going to hate the 2v2s. Like, when I think about being able to get a Davante Adams, a a Mike Evans, Marvin Harrison versus the Ladd McConkey, AJ Brown. I don't really mind the 2v2 there. I think it's still pretty close. So I'll just sneak in my Trey McBride obsession here at 17 with Nabers. Here, I'll look at your team because you sent a super chat. I'll look at your team real quick once more, Justin Rush here, to see if I had any other thoughts, and then we'll go back to drafting. Where are you? Caleb, Dak, Russ, Henry Mixon, Kenneth Walker, Ramondre, Corum. Went with the 4 tight ends, Laporta, Ingram, Kmet, Theo. With Laporta, Ingram, and Kmet, I would stop at 3. I think you're fine there. Lamb, Worthy, Rice, Coker, Leggett, Kyle Williams, Tolbert, Savion Williams. Yeah, I probably would have tried to add, because you have such a rocked up running back room, maybe add one more rookie dart here. Like, this is a team that could certainly welcome a guy like a Jarquiz Hunter. Just give yourself some upside. I'm not a fan of the Ramondre pick right now because I just think he's going to get cheaper when the Pats inevitably add a running back, in rounds 2, 3, or 4. But I think this is like a decently constructed team. I just would use the extra dart on a wide receiver, I think. But otherwise, I like the additional correlation there. Even though you don't have the Mahomes stack, you still have Worthy and Rice. Did you get sniped on Mahomes? What happened here with your Mahomes pick? Shady took Mahomes at 65. What is Shady doing? What is Shady doing? Shady, why are you taking unstacked Mahomes at pick 65? Come on, Shady. This is where Shady comes in the chat and has some way to defend it. He's setting up his backdoor Travis Kelce stack, I guess. All right. But that's a tough beat. Honestly, Rush, to get sniped by Shady on Mahomes there ahead of ADP, that's just cruel. A round ahead of ADP. That's cruel. That's cruel. Fix your model. Shady says the model loves getting Kelce next. Fix it. Happy Easter aftermath. Yes, Tyler. I ate a lot yesterday. Time to rein it back in this week. Shady ruined my life. Yes, there you go. All right, like I said, the 2v2s on like grabbing AJ Brown versus the one I could get in the second round, don't mind at all. So I will grab Davante Adams here. So that works out well. We start Nabers, McBride, and Adams. And we're off to the races here. Yeah, did you put this in your model, Shady? Put this in your model. Kelce is washed via playoff rondo. Put it in and then see what it spits out. I love this collective piling on Shady advice. Chad says Shady seeing through space and time to draft a 35-year-old who almost retired on a podcast. Let's bring it on. Anytime we all get an opportunity to make fun of one of the best DFS players of all time, we have to take advantage of it. This is our moment, guys. What a fish. Yeah, I've been clicking him a lot as well. Tyler says he loves Adams. I always got to now check my exposures to make sure I am actually doing this. Yeah, 16% for me. So double the field, and I've taken him in some of the higher dollar ones as well. All right, let's mix it up. I haven't done an elite quarterback team too much. Let's do Jayden Daniels here. Let's get a Jayden Daniels share at ADP. I could have taken one of these running backs, Hampton, Chase Brown, certainly fine there. But let's try a little different build here. Add Jayden Daniels to Malik Nabers, Davante Adams, and Trey McBride. Has Shady ever confirmed or denied his use of spice, known interdimensional vision substance? Yeah, what is going into this model? Also, is this your own model, or are you just calling the sidekick this? Now I'm curious. Oh, yes. Of course. My Jayden Daniels, Malik Nabers, as copy paste date says, I get that Washington, New York Giants, Galbrain week 17 equity. When in doubt, you got to stack up those divisional opponents. Good morning, Brett. Shady can't leak the secrets yet. I don't think you want to leak the secrets now if you're taking Mahomes around ahead of ADP to backdoor stack him with Travis Kelce. I think you need to do some fine tuning, Shady, before anything is leaked. Yeah, the one thing I don't think I have any Jayden Daniels, Terry McLaurin stacks, which I kind of wish I did. That seems like even though I'm not super stoked about the price on McLaurin, that is one that I will not be fully fading in Best Ball Mania, even though it kind of shook out that I faded it here in the big board. Consigliere says, I like leaning into the NFC now that your top 4 picks are in that conference. Sure. Yeah. It's just one of those things where it's like if you have a good tiebreaker, and this is kind of the age old takeaway about the correlation stuff. Like if you got 2 picks that are identical, and you want to break one in favor of that Galbrain correlation, then of course. I don't think I'm going to pull up a player though a full round because he plays in the NFC versus the AFC. Joe Burrow does go to the Jamar Chase drafter at the 4-5 turn. I've seen that before. Do we want ducks today? Do we want ducks? Let me know in the chat. Do we want some gentle ducks music here? All right. Let's see. This is what I'm going to do. I'm torn here. I'm torn. I think what I'm just going to do, I'm going to draft TreVeyon Henderson. We were talking about hot takes. I think TreVeyon Henderson is going to be a first round pick. I think that's happening. I don't know if it's going to be to the Broncos. I don't know if there's going to be another team. I think TreVeyon Henderson is going to sneak his way into round 1. And when he does, I think he's going to be a lot more expensive. If TreVeyon Henderson goes to the Broncos at pick 20, he's going to be a late 3rd round pick at worst. I wouldn't be surprised to see him being like a middle of round 3 pick for BBM. So if you're giving me that kind of upside in the late 5th, I'm into it. I'm into that potential CLV jump. I think like at worst, I think TreVeyon Henderson's ADP value is going to hold. Like I think he's a pretty steady asset. Maybe there's some scenarios where he gets drafted into a like more of a tougher committee. But even, we tossed out the example on ship chasing, like if he went to the Titans, and some people would be spooked, about, Pollard, Spears. It wouldn't be a clean thing on paper. I would still be willing to take TreVeyon Henderson in the 6th round there. He probably drops around round and a half in that scenario. But I also think inversely, he can jump almost 2 rounds if he nails a nutted landing spot. So this worked out really well because I really wanted to take Debo with Jayden Daniels. And this worked out really well. Debo now falls a few picks past ADP. I just didn't want to pull the trigger on it in round 5 because I knew kind of the 2v2 of, the Connor, Montgomery, Judkins. But now this works out really well because we get Daniels with Debo and we sneak in TreVeyon Henderson there. So Daniels, Henderson, Nabers, Adams, Debo, McBride. Dare I say, kind of a grown-ass man squad here. Kind of a grown-ass man squad. Henderson to the Commanders, I wouldn't mind that. Another one of those spots where I think the market would perceive it as somewhat messy, but I would fully expect Henderson to take over pretty quickly in that case. I don't know how they would be able to keep him off the field. Yeah. Rondo saying Daniels is pretty little, referring to my grown-ass man. Grown-ass man, there are two versions of it. There is kind of in the literal sense, your Julio Jones, your Calvin Johnsons, obviously your AJ Browns, your George Kittles. He is slight of stature, so I hear you on that, but there is a spiritual essence of a grown-ass man, which is almost like code for just a straight baller. And Jayden Daniels is a goddamn baller. Even here's a good example, an old school example, and I guess kind of convenient with Malik Nabers, like Odell Beckham. When Odell Beckham was really cooking, as a rookie in year 2, he was a small guy, but he was playing like a grown-ass man. Malik Nabers, not the biggest wide receiver. I think he plays like a grown-ass man. It's almost when we say, does he have dog in him? That's kind of how I think you can stretch the grown-ass man definition. Does he have dog in him? Malik Nabers has dog in him. Jayden Daniels has dog in him. So maybe I just say I drafted a room full of dogs. Is that better? And then I'll reserve the grown-ass man, accolades for the true physical specimens. All right. Let's see what we're going to be looking at here at pick 80. Wait a second. Travis Hunter went at 71. You know what? I wonder if I would, if Debo wasn't there, I wonder if I would have remembered to take Travis Hunter a round ahead of ADP, knowing that he was for sure going to go a few picks after that. We'll never know. We'll never know if I would have remembered, because in that spot, I can't complain about not getting Travis Hunter. If I was at pick 65 and didn't take him, I can't complain about it, because I had just said that's his real ADP in these rooms, a round ahead of it. So I can't complain about it this time. All right, Pearsall goes. I'm taking a rookie wide receiver here. I guess I'll let Doinks decide which one it is, because I'm taking a rookie wide receiver. He goes Burden. Today's Egbuka Day. Happy Emeka Egbuka Day here on the Pete Overzet YouTube channel. 2 drafts, 2 shares of Egbuka. And I said that's what I wanted to do. I said, I got enough Golden. I got enough Burden. Let's start getting some Egbuka. Come on down. He's our wide receiver 4 on this team. Jayden Daniels, Henderson, Nabers, Adams, Debo, Egbuka, McBride. Could the Commanders take Egbuka at pick 29? I think that's in play. I don't think that's that crazy. Building out a room of all Ohio State wide receivers there, I think he'd be a really nice compliment to Terry McLaurin in Debo in that offense. That'd be a really fun 3 wide receiver set. Debo, Egbuka, and McLaurin. Kind of all of those guys filling a specified role in the offense. That's the beauty. Let's hold on to these moments right now where anytime you take a rookie, you can justify a potential Galaxy Brain stack. Because next Monday, there's no more hypotheticals. There's no more gal braining. They will have teams. We will then start stacking via the letter of the law with no creativity. Josh Downs goes. You know who I have not taken? I don't think I have hardly any Tyrone Tracy. We took Nabers. Let's go ahead and use this as an opportunity to take a share of Tyrone Tracy. He's been a guy that I'm very worried about the Giants also adding an impact running back. But we're going to use the round discount plus the Nabers pick to give us a share of Tracy, who that's my first click. That is wild. That's my first Tyrone Tracy share. NA, not available. So there you go. I don't always take Tyrone Tracy, but when I do, It's a round past ADP on a Malik Nabers team. JGFC says, are you and Pat going to stream on draft night again this year? BBM isn't launching on draft night. BBM is going to launch on Monday. So there was that year a couple years ago where they launched it on the Saturday night of the draft. It is launching on April 28th, a week from today. I'm just praying, hoping, crossing my fingers that the contest is fully live by the kickoff of Best Ball Breakfast. I'll probably have to push back the show if it is not, but BBM is launching on Monday next week. I do need to figure out who I should have as a guest for the Saturday show of After Dark. If you guys have any suggestions, I always appreciate when people give me some suggestions on people they'd like to see on After Dark. Definitely would like to do a show that's a little bit more fantasy focused than maybe the typical After Dark show where we're just chatting about anything. Would definitely like to focus it on, when this contest opens, in 48 hours, again, envisioning recording this on Saturday, who are the guys we want to target? Who are the guys we want to move on? So if you guys are members and have suggestions on who you would like to see on that Saturday show, let me know, and I will try to make it happen. I just had Sean on After Dark on Saturday night. So that episode is there for you, Benny. Requesting Nez's baby boy on After Dark. Yeah, we'll see what we can work out. All right. We are about to pick at 104. I know Nick wanted me to get Kyler. That dream is gone. Goff goes. I don't think we need to mess with any quarterbacks here. I'm going to take McMillan. A little thin at wide receiver because I've done Daniels, McBride, Henderson, Tracy. Let's grab Jalen McMillan here at 102. I have no problem with that price, at pick 104, just slightly past ADP. So he adds to our room with Nabers, Adams, Debo, Egbuka, and McMillan. We'll have to think about, quarterback options on this team. We can do a rookie. Certainly the the dart. I guess Russell Wilson is your absolute emergency option. QB3 on a Nabers team. Stafford, obviously, with Adams. Baker's gone. Kyler's gone. Maybe we add a second QB in the mid-range here to bridge us to then either the Stafford or the rookie. Or this could be a team where you do Daniel, Stafford in a rookie. I think that could work too. We'll see what we like. Yeah, Nick says, I like Kyler more than Stafford, New York QB. And I generally agree with you, but with Daniels, with that kind of investment, a fourth round pick on Daniels, I do feel like I can move the quarterback draft capital allocation back in this room. Obviously I'm playing in a scenario where Jayden Daniels is going nuts and I'm basically never using my other quarterback score. All right, Charbonnet, I normally am sitting out the Swift Pacheco. Charbonnet, I don't have a problem with because I think they're extremely unlikely to add to that backfield. I know what I'm buying when I select Zach Charbonnet. The other consideration would be to try to start a backdoor stack with a quarterback. But again, because we have Daniels, because we have Stafford and rookie options late, I'm going to continue to build out this running back room that needs bodies. We've already seen how fast these rookies can fly off the shelves. So we're going to have to get some other options. So we grab Charbonnet, 6 picks past ADP. And now we have Henderson, Tyrone Tracy, and Charbonnet in our running back room. No, I was thinking about this recently again. The what says, did you ever talk to the BBM5 winner? I mentioned it on a show that, and I can't even remember the username because they've been so pseudo-anonymous. Never saw them do any interviews. I know that they've been in a ton of drafts on both Underdog and DraftKings, obviously playing through their winnings, but have not seen any content, Have not seen them on with a Twitter post. So if anyone's wrong on that, or if I'm missing something, please let me know. I should ask some of my friends at Underdog if they know who it is, or if they would even be interested in doing kind of show. That is kind of like a bummer in that every single year we've had either someone that people already knew, or someone like Fareed from BBM4 who was willing to kind of come out of the shadows. He hopped on the Swolecast, did multiple shows. I'm not asking the winner of BBM5 to become a full-blown content creator. They don't have to go full chess Liam and launch their own beatbestball.com. How about that for a plug, Liam? How about that? Send me a Venmo, buddy. But yeah, it would be nice to have them as part of the best ball community, So whoever you are who won BBM5, come out of your shell. We want to say hi. We're nice. We're weird. And we say things like win little board way too much, but generally speaking, we're a fairly nice community. Yeah, I definitely want to do another After Dark with BDGE. I normally do at least one a year with him. So yeah, that's a fun one. And he just did the BDGE Combine. Yeah, it is hard. A lot of people are really busy this weekend, obviously, especially people who have draft guides, right? Rookie draft guides, where that's the time you have your head down getting that out. So I have to also kind of be respectful of people's workload at the time, but I do like that suggestion. All right. We're about to pick in round 11 here. We got the 1-3-5-1 cooking. I was eyeing Drake May as he fell a little bit. Drake May at 125. Nice pick there. Jayden Higgins goes. CJ Stroud goes. Man, Colston Loveland seems fun here, right? We're still kind of pushing quarterback a little bit to see kind of how it shakes out. It's either Colston Loveland or Trey Harris. Trey Harris as my wide receiver 6 isn't bad, but Loveland, man, if Loveland goes round 1 and gets like an interesting landing spot, like if he does go to the Bears, which you'll see mocked a decent bit now, he's going to be more expensive. Loveland will go where Brock Bowers went last year. I'm not comparing them as, how they're actually going to perform, but I feel pretty confident Loveland's price would get to where Bowers was last year if he goes in round 1 to a non-Colts landing spot. And that's still one of my favorite bets that I've made is Loveland first tight end off of the board at pretty decent plus money. I think it was like plus 350. Daniel Raz, when he came on After Dark, he floated that as a bet he liked at the time. That was about a month or so ago, and I think that has aged pretty nicely. But McBride Loveland is a pretty good one. People like the Chargers landing spot. I mean, oh yeah, you want to, that would be for ADP and fantasy purposes, that would be a rocket ship. Yeah, him on the Chargers, he might even go higher than where Brock went last year. Couldn't you see him settling? You have this range here, Kelsey, Andrews. I mean, Warren went 97 here. I could see him easily filling in this, back into round 7 range if you had Loveland on the Chargers. All right. I think we can keep kicking quarterback down the road right now. This is probably all right. This is what we're gonna do. I'm gonna be the one that kicks off the rookie running back run again after getting shut out of it last one. Let's grab DJ Giddens here. We'll pull him up from 154 to 137. I could have taken Trey Benson as part of my Cardinals bet with McBride, but I want to get some more fun running backs in this room. So we had Giddens to Henderson, Tracy, Zach Charbonnet, and this could end up being more like a 7 or 8 running back room, depending on where things shake out. This is probably going to be one of the few kind of 2 tight end teams I do with both. Probably stop there and spend the extra dart at running back because as much as I like Henderson, there are plenty of scenarios where his production is a little bit more muted at the start of the season. Zach Charbonnet behind Kenneth Walker. Like, this is a team that could have very few points at the start of the season. I have to sneeze. Oh, and now I'm in my head about it. I have to sneeze, but I have stage fright. Oh. Loveland to the Rams. Yeah, that would be interesting as well. Keenan does go 140 in this room. Next week's chat is going to be fun. Yeah, we're going to be popping off. I mean, it is. We have 300 people watching right now, and you have seen the views uptick. You know, the closer we get to the start of the season, the fact that we have 300 people watching live right now on a Monday, even before the NFL draft, to me, it shows how much things continue to grow as far as like the level of interest in just the best ball community on the whole. 3 years ago, there is no way, and granted, my YouTube channel has grown, so there is kind of like a chicken or the egg scenario there, but there's no way you could have 300 plus people watching before the NFL draft. You still get the comments from most people. You'll see the screenshots of like, how are you doing anything before the NFL draft? It breaks people's brains. Even if you do a dynasty draft before the NFL draft, anything before it, people just can't comprehend the level of sickness required to participate in such an activity. And the fact that we're now at a point in the fantasy space where 310 people are like, oh yeah, fire me up for some pre-NFL draft content is very cool. It's very fun. Okay, let's see here what Dunks does. I think this is where I grab Stafford. Right? We have Adams. We've waited a long time on QB2. Feeling good about being patient here. Stafford with Adams, I think makes a ton of sense. And who knows? Maybe we bink the Loveland stack as well, like Nick was suggesting. Yeah, so 2-4-5-2 here. Feeling fine at quarterback and tight end. Feeling slightly squeamish about my running back room, just with how fragile it could be with some of these picks. So I'm going to have to go quantity at running back. We're going to have to get creative. The wide receiver room, I think, is solid. Nabers, Adams, Samuel, Egbuka, McMillan, but this is pretty much going to be running backs, wide receivers from here on out. Probably sprinkle in a third dart throw quarterback. Could be one of the rookies if we really needed to. I could grab my first Russell Wilson share. But otherwise, I think it's green and yellow rest of the way. Yeah, probably right. This is one of the times where Eckler's at the top of my queue, and I just have to be like, yes, Austin, you make too much sense for this team. I mean, Eckler on a Jayden Daniels team too is the ultimate kind of tiebreaker there. We'll see what Brendan does here. I think this is Corum, or do we go Devin Neal? So Corum gives me the Stafford correlation. Man, I'm torn. I almost always default to the rookies here. I'm going to take Devin Neal. I'm just going to hold to my guns. I do love the idea of getting a bigger block of Rams players, but I can't shake this thought of like the floor for Devin Neal is like where Corum is going now, right? It's like you're behind a locked and loaded running back and you still have contingent upside. Like this is probably close to his floor based on his projected draft capital in Best Ball Mania. Whereas the potential windfalls, the amount of room a guy like Devin Neal or Dylan Sampson or Giddens has to run in ADP it's crazy. Like these guys can jump massively. There's so many spots that will appear so clean on paper that I don't think the market will have any problem being like, Devin Neal in round 3 to the Raiders? Sure, sign me up. Sign me up for him as a 9th or 10th round pick. So I just, you really see your convictions play out when you're on the clock and you're thinking through those things. I'm a correlation slappy. I love building out stacks with the quarterback, the running back, and yet I can't shake the feeling that so many of these guys, and not all of them, but so many of them are going to see massive value increases a week from today. Who is this year's Marshawn Lloyd or Kendre Miller? And also there goes Austin Eckler. Hybrid Dad is not going to let me get Austin Eckler as a value on this team. It's a little early to say who is this year's Marshawn Lloyd or Kendre Miller, right? Like we got to see the landing spots first. The Marshawn Lloyd run out was disappointing because the injury was mixed in and it was hard to untangle how much of it was him not being able to stay healthy versus how much of it was the coaching staff disliking him. I guess in the case of Kendre Miller, you had both, right? Kendre Miller couldn't stay healthy, and because of that, the coaching staff hated him. But there will be that. I mean, that's the thing. Like the thing that's exciting about this class is the amount of eggs you're going to have to crack to make an omelet, so to speak, is going to be less this year, just because there are so many intriguing profiles that are going to go round 2, 3, 4, even round 5 in this class that are immediately going to be a problem for the veterans. When I did the exercise on Fantasy Life, I counted 13 landing spots that I think we would be excited about just like on its surface, like the non-gross ones, like 13 clean landing spots. And I define clean even in spots like the Commanders where it's like, okay, yeah, Brian Robinson, Eckler, but that's not actually a huge hurdle for a talented running back to overcome. And so when we're talking about 13 spots, and then you look at how many rookies are going in this range, it's not hard to see the potential value increases. All right, we're going to do Blake Corum here because I was really debating Corum last. I think you could argue to take one of these wide receivers here as well because I need to build that out. But Corum with the Stafford and Adams is too easy of a click. And now I finally can exhale a little bit at running back because I was like, man, this feels kind of thin. But now we leave round 15 with TreVeyon Henderson, Tyrone Tracy, Zach Charbonnet, DJ Giddens, Devin Neal, Blake Corum. Now we're cooking with a 0 RB room. Now we're cooking, and now we just need to catch up at wide receiver. Yeah. I've been running pure today in this draft specifically trying to get both guys I wanted because I was considering Debo when I took Henderson and I was able to get Henderson and then Debo falls 4 picks past ADP to me at 65. And then here I was strongly considering Corum at 161. And the thing is like, you always have to take the rookie first, right? Because the Corum profile is kind of the boring profile or not profile, but the boring selection relative to the rookies. Like if one of these guys is going to drop 10 picks past ADP, it isn't the rookie. That's for sure. All right. I am on the clock here. The kind of fun rookies went off the board. Royals, Besh, and Iomanor all went right in a row, which makes sense. I'm going to grab Wan'Dale Robinson. I think he's kind of the perfect pick for this team in that I have Giants players. He is like the wide receiver equivalent of a chaperone. Shout out Artillery Frost. I'm now adding that to my lexicon after Pat and Eric introduced that to me. But yeah, I think he's a really nice wide receiver 6. Get me some production in this room. We can continue to bet on the Giants being good. Like I need that. When I select Tyrone Tracy, when I select Malik Nabers, I'm going to need competent quarterback play. Doesn't mean I have to take Russell Wilson on this team, but it means in the reality of this team, the Giants are okay. So I think Wan'Dale Robinson there as my wide receiver 6 makes some decent sense. And then we got 4 more picks left. And we got a 2-6-6-2. Gonna want to add one more quarterback. Definitely will add one more running back. Definitely will add one more wide receiver. And then probably a luxury pick for that last pick, either a running back or wide receiver. Like we'll either get to 8 running backs or 8 wide receivers. We'll probably just come down to what's on the board there in the final round. It's a bummer to miss out on one of Alec, Jack Besh, or Jalen Royals. Obviously, a Jalen Knoll or Kyle Williams would have been nice as well. I mean, look at the Kyle Williams rise, going 158. I don't even think that's bad based on his projected draft capital. It's just, again, these late rooms here. There's no sneaking anyone by in these rooms. Sorry, David. I know this is in my mentions a lot lately. Will Underdog return to New York this summer? I have no idea, man. I have no clue. I have no inside information. I know the wheels of justice and the wheels of bureaucracy move very slowly, though. That is what I do know, which is unfortunate. But yeah, I'm hoping it gets squared away just as quickly as all of you guys. It's a huge bummer. But if I ever hear anything that I'm allowed to share or I see any nuggets of optimism, I will be sure to pass that along. But it's been radio silence on my end as far as seeing anything on that front that's encouraging. And yes, there is always that. No one ever likes to hear those things. But writing your congressman, it might not help, but it won't hurt, right? That's how it is. It might not do anything, but it certainly does not hurt. There is no downside to that. So that is certainly one way to try to speed things up, or at least make yourself feel productive in the short term. So I disagree with this premise. Taking Wan'Dale on a Nabers Tracy team, might as well grab Russ if you're betting on the entire offense. I think that's making a pretty big presupposition about Russ being a lock to start all 17 games. I think he's the favorite. I definitely think he's the favorite to start all 17 games. I don't know if I would consider him a lock. Let's see. It's like Tolbert, Wilson, or Slayton. Slayton, if I'm just ripping it in on the Giants, I think I'll go Tolbert here. Another guy where should still be out there in 3 wide receiver sets for the Cowboys, even if they select a wide receiver in round 1 or 2. And on this team where I'm just a little thinner at wide receiver, just getting guys we know who are going to play on competent offenses seems fine. But back to the Russell Wilson thing. And I'm not even saying that I wouldn't for sure consider taking him here, but where there is risk for Russell Wilson is the kind of risk that specifically plays out in our game where I want my quarterback starting weeks 15 through 17. And I don't think you can safely say that Russell Wilson is for sure going to play 15 through 17. He's probably what? If I had to bet, I do think he's the odds-on favorite, but I think it's like 55, 60%, maybe at best, that he's starting 15 through 17. So to me, it's not like you have to take Russ on this team, because I'm making a bet on competent quarterback play and not trying to be precise to guess where that's coming from. You do get the double whammy, though. Like, if it works out early in the season because Russ is playing well, then that increases his chances of being there in week 17. And of course, this room is going to fucking make me take, or am I just going to take Shedeur Sanders on this one? Okay, yeah, Milroe and Dart go. So the room that I don't need Dart, he goes second to last. And then this one, I actually want a rookie quarterback. I'm just going to take Shedeur here. Shedeur at pick 209. I think that could still work out as well. I'd say other than the Browns, the Giants still have had kind of the most connections to Shedeur. They're not going to take him at 3, but I think they could be in the mix to be one of those trade-up teams for Shedeur. And unlike the Russell Wilson, I feel really good about Sanders' chances to play and start weeks 15 through 17. And then the hope is I have a quarterback room of Daniels and Stafford who I can hopefully give, some breathing room to the Sanders production where I'm not quite as reliant on that right off the rip. So this team's coming together. 3-6-7-2, Daniel, Stafford, Shedeur at quarterback. Got up to those 6 running backs: TreVeyon Henderson, Tyrone Tracy, Charbonnet, Giddens, Neal, Corum. Wide receivers starting to beef it out: Nabers, Adams, Debo, Egbuka, Jalen McMillan, Wandale, Jalen Tolbert, and then McBride, Loveland. So I think we're in a good spot here. We'll get another rookie running back dart, and then probably another wide receiver dart. Maybe I can take Iosivas again, just to tilt Steph. Mark says he got totally squeezed at quarterback. What did you get? You're fine. Yeah, Lamar and Dart. But yeah, it happens in these rooms. If you blink, you can definitely get squeezed out. All right. Let's get one more last coffee pour in here. When we wrap up this draft, going to share an announcement about Best Ball Breakfast for the rest of the summer. And yeah, it blows my mind. A week from now, we'll have 4 months, roughly 16 weeks of nonstop Best Ball Mania drafting every Monday live on the channel. Getting very excited about that. Let's get a little coffee pour here for the home stretch. Let's see. Can we have some fun here with these last running back and wide receiver picks? I think Iosivas is off the board. You're in the clear, Steph. I can't tilt you with Iosivas. I'm not touching the Gabe Davis stuff right now. Do we have any kind of correlation tiebreakers? Let's do I don't mind the Parker Washington. I think things have been breaking pretty nice for him. The omission of Gabe Davis when the team was talking about their wide receivers seemed to be pretty bullish for him. And just not too many of the rookie wide receivers back here. I mean, we did Restrepo last draft, but it's just hard to find guys that right now in this real low information time that could actually be contributors. But let's figure out what we want to do at running back. We could do Trevor Etienne. Could do Keenan Allen. Kendre Miller's always there. And then we're down into the real dust balls. Is there any other correlation stuff we want to do here? Washington, we missed out on Eckler. We got Corum with Stafford. We already have Tracy for the Giants. Trying to think any other team. We could do Sean Tucker with Jalen McMillan. I still don't mind the Sean Tucker stuff. To me, he's not really that different than a lot of these bets in that most of these guys who are on the screen right here are probably running back 3s on their team. And then with the rookies, you're still trying to hit the parlay that they're a good running back, much less the running back 3. At least with Tucker, we've seen what he can do with that opportunity. I'm going to put Sean Tucker in here as I talk this through. Nothing with a Dallas running back late. Nothing with Jacksonville, Arizona. Yeah, I think I like Tucker here as kind of a guy who's most likely going to be a 0, but we'll do the kind of double contingent upside thing in the Bucs offense there with both Sean Tucker and Jalen McMillan, and we'll power it down here. 3782. 3782 final streamed big board draft on the channel here. Jayden Daniels, Matthew Stafford, Shedeur Sanders, TreVeyon Henderson, Tyrone Tracy, Zach Charbonnet, DJ Giddens, Devin Neal, Blake Corum, Sean Tucker got up to 7 running backs. 8 wide receivers, Malik Nabers, Davante Adams, Deebo Samuel, Emeka Egbuka, Jalen McMillan, Wandale Robinson, Jalen Tolbert, Parker Washington, and 2 tight ends, Trey McBride, Colston, Loveland. I had fun with this one for a couple of reasons. One, because this is a different build than I normally do. Normally not grabbing an elite quarterback. Normally not doing just a 2 tight end build. And normally not doing true 0 RB, getting my first running back at 56. I'm generally kind of grabbing a running back through at least 1 through 4 rounds. So this was fun to build out an elite quarterback 0 RB team. I like a lot how the running back room shook out. Henderson, Tracy, Sharbs, Giddens, Neal, Corum, Tucker. It's one of those that I think has the kind of the upside you want. Do you need a lot of things to go right for that room to come together? Sure. But if it does, it has the profiles and, the potential for CLV post-draft with these rookies to, I think, really explode. Wide receivers, we were a little thin there in the mid-range, didn't take a wide receiver between pick 104 and 185. And so then just kind of drafted some wide receivers who are going to be on the field, wide receiver 3s for their own team, Robinson, Tolbert, Parker, Washington. And then with McBride and Loveland, felt pretty comfortable not going with a 3rd tight end there. So we shall see. We shall see. But I feel decent about this. Little Board 2 just dropped. You're late, Pepper Tony. We broke that news in the cold open almost 2 hours ago. You're late. Sean Tucker may save this team. I'm in rough shape if Sean Tucker at pick 233 is my savior. And if he is, then he is completely mispriced. If Sean Tucker can single-handedly save a team, then he should be going much higher. All right. Okay. So I did want to do a couple of housekeeping things. And part of it is a bummer. It's a genuine bummer. We had Sean Siegel on After Dark on Saturday night. And one of the things we mentioned there at the end of the show is Sean is not going to be doing Best Ball Breakfast this year. If you want kind of more details, I do highly recommend watching that show. Sean has a lot going on in his life, his personal life. He has a lot going on with RotoViz, the responsibilities kind of mounting to the point he had to trim back on some stuff. Unfortunately, one of those things is not going to be joining us every Monday for Best Ball Breakfast. I will just say this right now. I don't want to use the word devastated to be hyperbolic, but whatever the reasonable synonym is in this spot, that's how I felt. I was pretty crushed because I love doing that show with Sean. And I think he just brings such a unique but smart perspective to what we do. He exists fully outside of the best ball bubble and all of this. So you can hear me wax about it a little bit more on After Dark, but I will just say this here for everyone in front of the paywall, super bummed about that. And I will already be angling to get Sean back in the future to have him come back. And he's already kind of promised me that he wants to make that work when things settle down with his life again. So there's that. But I knew I had to find someone who could at least do a lot of the similar things that I love about Sean, which is come in with their own ranking set, right? I like the fact that when I do it with Pat, and I should say right now, Pat is returning. Pat will be here every Monday for Best Ball Breakfast. But to fill Sean's shoes, which is really, really tough to do, I wanted someone who was a very smart drafter, someone who's not afraid to be contrarian, someone who works on rankings, who understands the ebbs and flows, who knows how to build high quality teams and really make that Monday show kind of the one place where you're going to get really, really strong drafting information and to see it discussed in real time. So without further ado, the man, the myth, the Michael Leone is going to be joining us as our resident guest after Pat on Mondays. He will be drafting with me every Best Ball Breakfast. So very excited about that. He obviously leading that team at ETR with the Best Ball ranks there, have drafted tons of teams with Leone over on Ship Chasing and thought he would be kind of, I don't want to say the only fit, but it felt like that. Like I couldn't envision who else could possibly fill in those shoes and kind of keep the show how I wanted it to be. And Leone fits that bill to a T. So I'm super excited about that. So the way the programming block will work on Mondays, it'll be a 10 a.m. solo show or solo draft with me at 11 a.m. Corain will come on, and then at 12 we'll have Leone. And then at 1 p.m., I'll have a rotating guest. And Davis is going to be our first rotating guest. Last year got to bring on tons of fun people, Rotopat, late round QB, Cooter Doodle, Ray GQ, I'll cycle through that. And so Best Ball Breakfast, 4 drafts every Monday, myself, Pat, Leone, and a rotating guest, always open for suggestions as well on that front. And I will also mention, I'm going to have another show block that is going to start after Memorial Day. There's still some things I need to get finalized with that, but Monday Best Ball Breakfast will be joined with a Wednesday show as well, and I'll have more details about that in the future. And we're gonna have more videos on the Deposit Kingdom channel. So the content is gonna be coming fast and furious, and yeah, very much looking forward to this summer, and appreciate all of you guys, the real ones, the 300 plus of you watching live on a Monday before the NFL draft. Always enjoy, having you guys help bring me along and getting caught up to speed, because I even take a little time off after the end of the season. You guys start drafting right away, and through the chat, through your guys' comments, you guys bring me up to speed to where I feel like I can draft some solid teams there by the end. So thank you guys for all of your smart, funny, insightful comments, all of that good stuff. And yeah, otherwise we got our regular programming this week. We'll have Swolecast and Off and On the Clock tomorrow. Thursday, we'll have lulls. And then instead of the ship chasing afternoon stream, we're going to have our draft stream Thursday night, kicking off at 8. Always a blast. Make sure you're subscribed over there. The ADP chasing guys will have their show on Tuesday, tomorrow, over on the ship chasing channel. And then I'll book a guest for After Dark on Saturday night, so we can kind of talk through the fallout of the first couple rounds of the draft. And then a week from today, Best Ball Breakfast, Best Ball Mania edition. Can't wait. Appreciate you all. Keep an eye out on the Deposit Kingdom channel. I'm going to go post a video there right now. So that's going to drop in about 20 to 30 minutes. A draft with Corain, kind of talking through our final thoughts for this pre-draft contest landscape, and get some spicy predictions and spicy takes from Corain over there. All right, guys, that's it for me. We'll see you guys next week on a Best Ball Mania edition of Best Ball Breakfast.